She knows that she's always
like
wanted
that.
to kill Tyrion,
I
and
like
so
it,
maybe
but-
he...
Well, but now, hang on. If that was the deal, why not do it just right then and she didn't have to give anything? I mean, the mountain,
Because they still need to
Tyrion's
manipulate
cool and all,
Dany.
but...
Because they probably know that, like, Daenerys wouldn't have... that could have set fire to everything right then and there. If
I
she
will
came back
say,
without
if
Tyrion.
there is a deal cut, it is an absolute win-win for Cersei. Because either Tyrion's going to die by her hand, or if he doesn't die by her hand, Dany's going to find out that he betrayed her, and she's going to off him that way.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I keep coming back, and maybe I'm being too sappy here, but we've seen one theme that comes through in Game of Thrones over and over is that family connection, right? We saw it. We doubted it a little with Arya and Sansa, right? We saw it come through in the end. I think that with Cersei, I was shocked to see, but we did see it come through. She was given the opportunity to kill both Tyrion and Jaime, and I can see your point about it wouldn't have served her at that moment. It wouldn't. So maybe she wanted to, and she would have totally done it, but it would have screwed up her plans in the end. So I can maybe get there, but I don't know. God, that's like interesting.
I don't know about killing Tyrion, but I definitely see a deal because, like, Tyrion and the diplomat he is knows that, like, she's not going to just do it for free. Why would you? I mean, they need her. So
My other backup point to this is his creepy look on the ship when they're towards the end of the episode, not to jump, but he's like staring down the hallway, clearly at the door when Jon and Dany are in the room, and he's got this like, I don't know, this just like kind of like mastermind look on his face.
So
Almost
it
sad.
screwed it up. Them screwed it up. But what did it screw up in that case? Like, what kind of deal? I don't think they made a deal myself. I don't think Tyrion and Cersei made a deal. But if they did, what deal did he screw up?
That was at least a guilty-looking face
I
on
agree.
Tyrion. At the
think-
end.
Maybe he
I had
knows.
totally forgotten
Maybe
about
he
that.
had
too.
the piece of paper in his hand that said, "Hey, that's his aunt."
I don't think that
Maybe
the
don't
King's
let him
Landing
do
folks
that.
would have known
No.
that.
No, they were on the boat. So that Raven, which, like, without even
Unless
going
you're
into why
talking
Raven
crazy-
shouldn't be used to send messages.
Crazy time travel there, though, because we're getting that kind of reveal as that's happening. I doubt they've
On
sent
purpose.
Ravens.
Like,
right.
Like, thematically, that was so great.
Let's pull it back. We're going to get there. That's the end of the episode. What is
Bet
the
you Dany's going to get
Yeah.
there, too.
next, the scene, the
8
master of
inches of
scenes?
snow.
Yeah, she does. Have you seen
So-
John's work in the cave? Sorry.
guys, I'm gonna go light speed. Should we go light speed?
Lightspeed.
So, we come back to the Dragon Pit. Dany and Jon are talking about pretty much the Dragon Pit, and it's kind of a cool metaphor, but we'll skip that. And then Tyrion comes back. Cersei's essentially in tow, and then they, like, he comes back out, and everybody's like, oh, shit, Tyrion's here, but where's Cersei? And then she shows up, right? And then the next time we see, and she agrees to all of this, but everybody knows she's probably got something up her sleeve, right? So then the next thing we see in the same lineage, we go to Winterfell, but we'll talk about Winterfell all at once. We see the people that were at King's Landing at Dragonstone around the painted table, specifically Jon, Jorah, etc., deliberating about how to get north, how specifically to get Dany north. And this is like a really interesting scene because just for a minute it's like, well, we have to show a unified north, especially because Jon bent the knee, but we also don't want Dany to die, and it's just kind of like this quibble, right? And I don't really feel like there's a whole lot of threats out there, like walking towards the north, so it was kind of strange to me that they even brought it up, in my opinion. Do we want to spend time on this?
Just to set up the fact that, oh, hey, maybe they're still going to get to bone.
Yeah, right, exactly.
That's
We got to
probably
get
the
you
only
on.
thing that's served.
Jorah looks super defeated when she decides to go with Jon's plan.
Yeah.
It's like his only purpose in this episode was to look defeated.
Sir
Yeah.
friend zone.
Sucks.
You just-
friend zone.
Tyrion in that scene?
It was part of his idea,
Yeah.
actually, I think, to get her on
I
the
think
boat,
he
wasn't it?
was.
He's just standing next to Dany. I don't think he says anything.
Yeah, it was really quick. And essentially, like, yeah, I guess boats really get Dany turned on, so that worked out. All right, so then we see Theon and Jon together in, like, the Dragonstone throne room. And this is a really cool scene to me because we get this conversation where Theon's like, how are you always right, Jon? And it comes back to being honest. He was always an honest person. He would vouch for his mistakes. He would do what was right no matter what needed to happen. And Theon is a fucking bitch and never would do that, right? So then it turns into this, like, complete conversation of, like, Jon forgiving somebody who really screwed over his parents and telling him, like, you have some Ned Stark in you. And I thought this was huge because it's Jon admitting that he is a Stark even when he's going to find out that he is not the same Stark that he thought he was, right? It's going to be Lyanna and Rhaegar are his lineage. that we find out later in the episode, and he's looking at Theon saying, like, you're influenced by a lot of different people. It's like the nurture versus nature, and it's kind of getting away from this, like, bloodline. Everybody follows a bloodline to royalty.
Yeah, it's really probably sets up the reveal for Jon, where he's going to have, at this point, really the same identity crisis that Theon had in that moment. It's like, you are both a Greyjoy and a Stark. Well, okay, all of a sudden, Jon has to be something completely different than he thought he was. So a Stark, open it in front of the mic. Yeah, but so he has to be a Stark and a Targaryen, and what does that mean for his psyche at that point? But that hasn't happened yet.
That's kind of what I think is the reveal, though. Like, Jon has become this person who identifies as the person he's always been. Like, will it change him that much? That's kind of what I read.
How's it going to actually change Daenerys and Jon's relationship? Like, I'm wondering, like, they've gone... and this is what I really just struggled with this season, is understanding why they're doing this way. Is that now that they've complicated the relationship that we've been building to this season with Jon and Dany, like, what's the payoff there now that they have boned? And they're gonna, get to wherever they're going, and like presumably find out at some point about Jon's actual parentage. What does that do? I mean, what's their reaction? I mean, what do you do? Are they gonna be like, "Ew, gross, icky," and like go to that Ace Ventura scene where he like chews a bunch of gum and like takes a shower? You know what I'm talking about?
I mean, to be honest, I really have no idea. They've mentioned obviously that the Targaryens had incestual relationships to keep the bloodlines alive. I don't know if that still applies. I really don't know. I don't know how they're each going to react. I don't know if they're going to be cool with it and just be like, well, maybe this strengthens us a bit.
And are we supposed to root for that?
Like, as fans?
I don't know. Like, me too, but like, is that cool?
Or it sets up the Azor... It sets up that prophecy, right? The prince that was promised. I mean, maybe, and I know like Reddit was kind of like going back and forth about this earlier today, like... Is Jon going to be the one who impregnates Dany again, even though she thinks she can't? You kind of talk to her and he's like, oh, but you can.
If anyone can do it, Jon can.
That's right. And then all of a sudden, like, to beat the Night King or to do something, he has to kill her. Like, that would fulfill that prophecy.
Yeah.
But I don't know if I want it to either.
Exactly.
Like,
Yeah.
I'm very conflicted about this.
I think for Jon, like the easy fan point seems to be like, well, now Dany's going to be all pissed off because she's not the rightful heir to the throne. But to your point in our rapid fire and ice, it's like, just get married then. You guys can both do it. What's the big deal? And Jon doesn't really even want to be king, so I don't see that really being a rift in any way.
Yeah. Should we go back to...
So I think we just keep going through because, like, the next thing that happens, right, is when they're on the boat. We kind of touched on it a little bit. Well, no, it's Sam and Bran together.
Have we got...
do you want
to skip over that entire awesome scene?
Okay, you guys go ahead.
Hold on. Do you want to, like, finish out King's Landing with, like, the Jaime Cersei piece?
Yeah, okay. Let's
Just
do
finish
that.
it out?
Yeah.
Let's do that, Seth. Yep. Lead us.
I mean, so... Let's see how this starts.
Well, I mean, we know that they meet up.
Boys, we gotta go over here and do this here, boys.
Yeah, Jaime's talking on their map, and
We'll go north.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be sound effects.
Right.
Do it.
Cersei walks in and is basically like, yo, dude, what are you doing? And he's like, I'm preparing our troops to move
She
north.
says, I always knew you were the stupidest Lannister.
Yeah.
Like,
she like really
that
discredits him.
Sucks.
Again, also kind of pointing to that maybe Tyrion did cut a deal because like he is smarter. Whatever, I digress. But they're talking. He's like, well, I took an oath. I'm gonna take our team north and we'll defend the wall with Dany and Jon. And she's like, well, I already insured it, and we're not sending them. And we have the gold, and clearly you didn't pay attention to Dad's teachings because he basically said gold wins wars. And she hired the Golden Company, and that was Euron's out to leave the Dragon Pit, and he went to go pick them up and bring them back over to King's Landing.
With their elephants.
And horses. So like 20,000 men, horses, elephants. And this is at the point where their break really starts to just kind of crack away.
I love this scene so much because Jaime is such a great character, and he's constantly being held back for this love for his sister, which that should never be said out loud. But anyways, essentially the fact that like he is finally free to go fight the battle he wants to fight for the people he wants to fight is so gratifying for me as a fan.
It's also too, let me just throw this out there. It was a passing shower thought that I had about this.
Weird.
That's not what I meant. So
Apparently, what you think about in the shower
Yeah,
is
that
what I'm
too.
taking
Oh,
away
yeah.
from
So I
this.
do my best thinking, guys. All right.
Only
But is there a chance that Cersei sent Jaime away to protect him? Is there any possibility that there is any redeeming quality left in that woman? That she said, I'm going to purposely push this man away because...
I will kill him.
Yeah,
No,
what would
I'm-
she be saving him from?
The
Because, like, sending him away sends him to the north where these scary things are.
We're gonna send you back to the showers on that one. I guess.
Like,
Hold on, no. I'll back you up on this.
Back me
I
up.
see what you mean by it because again, like I think despite all of their kind of like animosity towards one another, I can understand that she does love him, and they have this kid potentially who she would want him to maybe be around. Like I can understand it. I don't think personally that's how it is, but I can see that idea kind of taking shape.
But what if like Cersei is like legit suicidal to the point where like she's lost so much, she's lost
her children, she's lost everything, and she's like, I'm going for this throne or bust. And I know this is a stupid fucking plan. Like, I know that I should be up there, like, helping everybody fight this war, the only war that matters, but I'm not going to do it. I'm going to stay right here until it comes to me. And, like, maybe she knows that, like, I can't bring you down with me. Like, this isn't the right call. This isn't the right play. And if I push you away, you'll go fight the war that matters.
and die.
Maybe she's sending him away because she still knows the prophecy about one of her younger brothers killing
Protecting
her.
herself, maybe.
And so she's protecting
Okay.
herself.
I could see that.
I
could
like
definitely
that.
see
I like that better than Braden's
I
shower
don't know.
thought.
I'm really hoping this isn't that. No offense to your theory. I'm really hoping this is like that last little cusp of Jaime's redemption arc,
Yeah.
and he has officially left, and he's going north to do what he's supposed to do because at heart he is a soldier.
I feel like I'll be the first person to admit that some women, me being among them at times, maybe push away the people that they love when they're at their most downtrodden, maybe, right? So I could
Tell me more
get
about
there,
that,
and
Joe.
I'm very intrigued by the theory. I do think I'm curious what her end goal was in that scene, and I'm very interested in how and when she gives the mountain the signal to kill him. I mean, I really thought that was going to happen, and then when the mountain didn't even budge, right, and Jaime calls her bluff and runs away, how did the mountain know? Like, she's not
They
being
rehearsed
serious,
that
right?
shit.
They right?
It's like stealing a base sign. She was like, hey,
Subtle hand signals.
So I don't know. I'm definitely interested in that theory. But one thing that gets me about Game of Thrones, and maybe this is the TV moments you guys like to talk about, but as you know, there's so many directions things could go, right? So how do you know that? How do they make those plans so crisp, so clean that they walk right into their trap?
I believe you mean so fresh and so clean.
So fresh and so
clean.
I don't know. Just sometimes it feels too perfect. So if that was really her goal, man, she executed quite nicely. I don't know.
The only other part to no offense, Brogan, tear your theory apart is that
just threw one out there.
Just shut up a skeet. I don't like it.
you missed it completely. No, at the end, after he calls Cersei's bluff, he says, "I don't believe you,"
Yeah.
and I took that as two ways. Like, I don't believe you're going to kill me, and then I also took it as like I don't believe what you've become. Like, as a person, he doesn't believe her, like
Yeah.
who she is
Yeah.
anymore.
Also want to say that the books beat the TV show to this point. In the books, Jaime never made it back to King's Landing when he was coming back. He stopped in, I think, in River Run. He didn't end up turning it over back to Cersei. So that's kind of where we left him in the books. And so, I beat you there. I knew he wasn't going to die. So suck it.
Dun dun dun.
So that was about it.
I don't know. He walked into that room, and I'm pretty sure we were all.
Oh, I thought about it. I was like, oh boy.
Yeah. I mean, I think that the coolest thing about it is, again, just another family tie together that we see, and like this happening where it's like these people are at odds with each other even though they're family. So let's roll. Yes. I'm confused.
Do you get what this means?
No, have no. Oh.
This is my little finger.
Yeah. Well, hold on. So the thing we didn't talk about, the last track, motherfucking little finger. The last track we didn't talk about.
Damn it! This
You
fucking
fired a dud.
We gotta hire. We're currently taking applications for sound interns
Yeah.
to sit in on these episodes and just play
Despite
the
this being the
4
last
sound
one.
effects that we have.
So the last thing that we didn't really talk through was Bran and Sam being the men in the chair, and obviously the big reveal. And like these guys are very powerful together, right? Like Sam is very, very studied. He understands what's happening. He knows a lot of the people that are playing right now. And Bran is the guy who could see anything. I feel like